Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was as the older brother of Kakashi? Part 1. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time let's get into the video. It was the 38th year of Konoha, coinciding with the time after the Second Ninja World War. We find ourselves in the country of fire, outside of Konoha village, near a lakeshore, a simple cabin surrounded by fields of cabbage, tomatoes, corn, and other vegetables. This cabin is located in the suburbs outside of Konoha's village wall, where Naruto used to fish in the original work. The boy, about 5 or 6 years old, with silver hair and a face mask that covers the entire face below the bridge of his nose, is seen walking to the door of the wooden house, raising his head and calling out, "Uncle." About half a minute later, the door of the wooden house was slowly opened, revealing a man who was about in the second half of his 25 years, with the same silver hair as the boy, but with a more elegant and fierce demeanor. This man is truly heroic, and it's the most suitable word to describe him, especially considering he doesn't wear a farmer's straw hat on his head. "It's 50-50, you finally here to spend family time with me?" the man said, lowering his head and casting his eyes on the young boy. He then picked up a hoe from the side and began working on the ground. "Uncle, my name is Kakashi," the boy spoke. Kakashi rolled his eyes in response, feeling speechless. Despite growing up with this uncle for so long, he has only heard him call his real name a few times. 50-50 because he can fight Kagaya but nearly lost his Zabuza. So it doesn't matter who he fights. He has a 50% chance to win the fight. His uncle has given him a nickname since he remembers it. Hatake Tatsuya, 28 years old, a Konoha genin. He is the younger brother of Sukomo Hatake, White Fang Hatake Tatsuya, 5 year younger than his elder brother. A person with enough strength to challenge his big brother, 3 Hokage. However, it is impossible to say that Tatsuya is inferior to the current Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen is still at his peak, but being nearly 50 years old, there is no possibility of getting stronger. His strength will only decrease instead of increasing due to his age. On the other hand, Hatake Tatsuya, just in his early 30s, has room for further improvement. Surpassing Sarutobi Hiruzen is very possible, but only a few people, like Hatake Sukomo and Kakashi, know this. And let's have lunch together," Tatsuya invited Kakashi while loosening the soil, pulling out a cabbage from the ground, and picking some tomatoes. After washing the vegetables, he took out rice balls from the stool behind him and threw one to Kakashi. "Uncle, it's not time to eat, Dad recently." Before Kakashi could finish, he quickly told Tatsuya about the recent anomaly of his father. Since his dad returned from the battlefield last week, his cheerful personality disappeared, replaced by silence and gloom. For over a week, he locked himself in the house, refusing to speak, which made Kakashi's heart fill with an unknown and bad premonition, leading him to seek help from his uncle. Tatsuya frowned, trying to recall the timeline, realizing that Kakashi should have already enrolled in a ninja school. He pondered the situation, understanding the gravity of the matter. "I have said so many times to tell him not to be so honest in this shinobi world, and he hasn't made any progress at all," Tatsuya remarked, expressing concern about his brother's behavior. Taking off the straw hat with one hand, Tatsuya got up and strode towards Konoha's main entrance. Seeing this, Kakashi quickly followed behind. However, after just 2 steps, Tatsuya turned abruptly back, as if thinking of something. He entered the room and took out a katana, causing Kakashi to grumble and swallow, feeling uncertainty instantly transforming into a sense of crisis. Upon arriving at Hatake's house, Tatsuya and Kakashi saw about 5 or 6 Konoha shinobi pointing at Hatake and cursing. Tatsuya paid attention to the Jonin ninja and his ninja clothes and raised his eyebrows. "The Sarutobi family? Who is the leader?" Tatsuya's gaze was fixed on the person in front, who was pointing to the one that Hatake Sukomo scolded the most and asked. "Yes. Sarutobi Shinosuke, in the previous mission, seemed to be a teammate who worked with Dad," Kakashi whispered, still a young 6-year-old kid. "Oh, it's him," Tatsuya gave a funny laugh and strode forward. Snapped. In the next second, before anyone could react, Tatsuya slapped his brother's face. The sound was at least 80 decibels. Sukomo was directly slapped and fell to the ground, his left cheek swollen. "Dad? Are you okay?" Kakashi, who was shocked, reacted quickly, rushing to pick up his father, and then shouted at Tatsuya, "Uncle. What are you doing? I'm asking you to comfort my father, not to beat him." "Why don't you respond?" Tatsuya asked Hatake Sukomo condescendingly, leaving him speechless. "The bunch of trash can point fingers at your Kage-level head and talk shit, and you're silent. Have you become a coward?" Tatsuya asked again. "Idiot, eternal genin, who gave you the courage to say that?" The people behind Sarutobi Shinosuke and others were furious, attempting to grab Tatsuya's shoulder and punch him. Tatsuya scoffed, looking at the ninjas of Konoha and their leader, one who looked like a monkey, being Hokage's son Sarutobi Shinosuke. Suddenly, Tatsuya pulled out the katana from his waist. His kinjutsu is different from the lightning-style kinjutsu that his brother, White Fang, is known for. The moment the sword was drawn, its body burst into raging flames, fire-style plus swordsmanship, akin to that swordsmanship. Boom. The flames of the raged like waves, combined with a sword slash, seemed capable of cutting through everything in its path. Intense heat and aura emanated from Tatsuya, revealing a hidden strength beneath his ordinary appearance. Black flame. The flames and sword aura merged, almost wiping out Sarutobi Shinosuke and the others behind him, sending them flying into the sky. Boom. Kurenai, would you like to join me for lunch? On the bustling streets of Konoha, a boy of the same age as two 6-year-old girls, chattering endlessly. Kurenai, do you agree? The girl with shoulder-length black hair smiled bitterly at her long-haired friend, whose hair was slightly curled up to the waist, and her eyes were like rubies. I don't want to, Asuma, this guy just keeps bragging about how amazing his father is, and he's so boring. Then, what is that? Kurenai's words were interrupted as she pointed to something in the sky. The black crescent streaked across the sky above Konoha and struck Hokage Rock on the back mountain. Boom. The explosion created a storm that swept almost half of Konoha, causing Yuhi Kurenai, Shizune, Asuma, and the other young ninja students who had just entered the ninja school to be blown to the ground. Even the ordinary people around fell on their rears and were in a state of panic. What's going on? An earthquake. Look at Hokage Rock. Is the third Hokage's face, it's gone? Is it an enemy attack? Hurry up and notify the Uchiha guard. After witnessing the third Hokage's face sculpture disappear without a trace due to the mountain explosion, panic spread across Konoha. This was the period of the Ninja World War, so the first reaction of many was to assume an enemy attack. Amidst the chaos, the two 6-year-olds, Kurenai and Shizune, got up from the ground. The attack just now had the power of a very strong ninjutsu, right? Shizune's face turned pale, still in shock. Yeah, but it looked like a sword slash. My dad couldn't do something at that level. Could it be Uncle Sukomo? No, that's not right, Uncle Sukomo uses lightning style. Kurenai's father, Uhataka, was a famous swordsman and gained jutsu ninja in Konoha, and she recognized that the attack was a sword slash. However, it was far beyond her father's abilities. In her mind, only her father's friend, the renowned White Fang, could perform such a feat. But that didn't make sense. Looking at the weird black flames burning on the mountain wall, it was clearly different from the lightning-style slashing technique that White Fang was famous for. Let's go and see. Kurenai took her best friend's hand and quickly ran towards the direction where the sword energy had exploded. Hey. Wait for me, Kurenai. Asuma hurriedly got up from the ground and rushed to catch up with them. Meanwhile, at the center of the Uchiha clan's village, Uchiha Fugaku, who was only 23 years old and not yet the patriarch, stared blankly at the still-burning black flames on the back mountain rock wall and said to himself in shock. No. Then, is that the inexhaustible flames recorded in Uchiha history, Amaterasu? In front of Hatake's house, a group of Sarutobi ninjas, led by Sarutobi Shinosuke, collapsed to the ground in fright upon seeing Tatsuya raising his katana. As they looked towards the back mountain, they noticed that the face of Hiruzen Shinosuke's father had disappeared and was destroyed by the explosion. Sarutobi Shinosuke and the others were in disbelief. Could this really be the eternal genin as infamous as Might Dai? Behind them, Hatake Sukomo and his son Kakashi showed little surprise. They knew firsthand how terrifying the power of Tatsuya, their younger brother or uncle, could be. Do you still want to commit suicide? Tatsuya didn't even pay attention to the frightened Sarutobi Shinosuke on the ground and turned to ask his big brother. There were some words missing from the emotional message, but it didn't change the message. The talk between men doesn't need too many words, just the emotions behind it are enough. Be it father-son or brother, some words are enough to know what the other party is saying. Hatake Sukomo's face was suddenly startled. Lately, he had faced endless accusations from other ninjas, making him consider suicide. Unexpectedly, his indifferent brother saw through his feelings. Dad Kakashi was also completely frightened. The thought of his father wanting to commit suicide shocked him. I don't know what you did on the previous mission, but suicide is the stupidest thing in the world. Tatsuya calmly sheathed his katana and said indifferently, when you die, there is nothing left. But that kind of thought, I'll be here to beat some sense into you whenever it arises. Tatsuya embraced his brother with both hands to help him stand up. After all, he is the one who slapped him too hard. As someone who had lived another life on Earth and read the Naruto manga, Tatsuya already felt that Hatake Shumao, his brother, was on a dead-end path. And now, Sukomo was Tatsuya's big brother. He couldn't just stand by and watch him suffer and die. Hatake Sukomo was speechless, and to be honest, his face still hurt from Tatsuya's hug. Dad, don't think like that. Kakashi's eyes were teary as he clung to his father's clothes and pleaded. Seeing the emotional exchange between the father and son, Tatsuya couldn't help but sigh. Hatake Tsukumo's heart began to soften and he gave a faint smile, saying, "Don't worry, I won't." Suddenly, a cold humming sound reached their ears. The three members of the Hatake family turned their heads to look. More than a dozen figures wearing grey vests and animal masks suddenly appeared, flashing with a body flicker technique, surrounding the Hatake mansion in an instant. At the same time, Kurenai and her group of young academy students arrived. Accompanying them were two other kids of the same age, Uchiha Obito and Nahara Lin. The two groups met on the road. "Are you Anbu or Root?" Tatsuya asked, looking at the masked figures with interest. The difference between Sarutobi Hiruzen's Anbu and Shimura Danzo's Root was subtle, mainly in the characteristics of their masks. However, as a simple genin living outside Konoha for so many years, Tatsuya couldn't discern them from each other. The group of people who arrived didn't even bother to pay attention to Tatsuya's question. In their eyes, Hatake Tatsuya, the eternal genin, didn't possess the authority to question them. They are Roots. An organization similar to Anbu but under Hokage's assistant Shimura Danzo. A genin shouldn't even dare to oppose them. After all, this world respects strength, as exemplified when Cloud Shinobi attempted to kidnap Hyuga Hinata. They were caught red-handed by Hyuga Hiashi. Even if the culprit died, Konoha has Yamanaka clan who can get info from the dead shinobi's brain. Instead of apologizing for this mess, Cloud Shinobi instead threatened to attack Konoha. Wasn't it because Cloud Shinobi were stronger than Konoha at the time? "It's from the Root," Hatake Tsukumo answered Tatsuya at that moment. "Huh? So, it's Danzo's subordinate," Tatsuya sneered. "Eternal genin. You are not qualified to speak." A member of the Root scolded Tatsuya, obviously not aware of the seriousness of the problem. "Hatake Tsukumo, did you make the sword slash just now? Come to the torture department with us." The cold gaze under the mask of the leader of the Root squad was fixed on Hatake Tsukumo. Obviously, the Roots thought that the sword slash just now came from Hatake Tsukumo. Not to mention Konoha, looking at the entire ninja world, I am afraid that there is no second one. Although the weird black flame is obviously not compatible with Hatake Tsukumo, who uses lightning style, who else could it be but him? It can't be Hatake Tatsuya, the eternal genin, right? The attack that ruined Hokage Rock just now was Kakashi's dad. Obito, with black hair and his hairstyle, is also very similar to Naruto, was shocked and at the same time, there was a bit of admiration in his eyes. Okay, such a strong fire ninjutsu. The girl with red eyes Kurenai said in disbelief, "No, it's impossible. Uncle Sukomo can't do such a thing." Asuma snorted. "Huh. Destroy the Hokage Rock, which symbolizes the prestige of Hokage. This is enough for him to sit for a lifetime in prison." "No, it's not Hatake Tsukumo." At this time, Sarutobi Shinosuke and others had been relieved from the shock. They pointed at Tatsuya, gritted their teeth, and said to the Roots. "Yes, he did it." In an instant, everyone on the scene turned their attention to Tatsuya. The leader of the Root part seemed to have heard some fantasy jokes, pointed to Tatsuya, and asked Sarutobi Shinosuke, a tone of "Are you kidding me? This is the infamous eternal genin. He even doesn't do any missions for Konoha anymore, stays near the walls of Konoha." Yes, his swordsmanship is almost equal to that of White Fang and the weird black flame, that's it was him. Thinking of the destructive power of this level slash just now, Sarutobi Shinosuke still had some lingering fears and his tone trembled. "Tatsuya, why are you hiding your strength? What on earth do you want to do?" Obito, Rin Nahara and others were dumbfounded. The slash just now was not made by White Fang, but by the uncle who lives on the outskirts of the village and usually farms the land and grows vegetables. You know, Tatsuya gave them the impression that he was a farmer. I heard Hokage's eldest son say so. No matter how incredible the Roots are, they have to accept this fact. When a mediocre ninja who is regarded as eternal genin by everyone suddenly can use rank ninjutsu, everyone's first reaction was definitely not admiration, but endless vigilance and hostility. Not to mention the suspicious groups like the Sarutobi family and Roots. The next moment, more than a dozen shinobi at the Root pulled out their katana, as did the ninjas of the Sarutobi family, who were brought down by Tatsuya. They also put on a fighting pose. Hey. It's a bit bad. Obito shivered in shock. In that case, take Hatake Tatsuya back. The captain of the Root part shouted coldly. Sarutobi Shinosuke also said. So is Hatake Tsukumo. He made a major mistake in Sand Shinobi's mission and deserves to be punished. Ahaha. As soon as Sarutobi Shinosuke said this, Tatsuya smiled and bent over, making everyone puzzled again. Why are you laughing? Sarutobi Shinosuke asked with an unknown premonition in his heart. Listen to me, my glass-hearted brother gave up his mission to save you, right? Tatsuya raised his thumb, pointed to Hatake behind him, and asked. Yes, so what? Sarutobi Shinosuke shed a drop of cold sweat on his face and then yelled. The ninja should have given priority to the mission. Don't think he saved me, I will thank him. If he hadn't given up the mission, the original war against Sand Shinobi should have been over. The ninja who cannot complete the task is just a waste. Do you know how much Konoha has lost because of him? I do it all for Konoha. All for Konoha, one bite at a time. Based on this alone, Tatsuya has determined that this guy is absolutely Sarutobi Hiruzen's father. According to what you said, you were the person who dragged the mission down. My brother should be punished because he saved you, but look at you, if it wasn't for you my brother could have completed the mission. Tatsuya grinned. What did you say? Sarutobi Shinosuke's face changed suddenly. A ninja who can't complete the task is a scum, and the guy who drags the mission is even worse than scum. Tatsuya smiled and said, what are you doing alive? For Konoha, you should hurry up and die, don't waste Konoha's resources. Shut up. Sarutobi Shinosuke was furious and immediately performed a hand seal. To be fair, what Tatsuya said was true. It was a waste of White Fang's time and prestige to give up his mission to save himself. However, because of his lack of strength, Sukomo fell into an ambush by the enemy, which led to him abandoning the mission. Wasn't that a waste of time? But why was it Hatake Sukomo who was blamed instead of him? This point is a matter of opinion. Fire-style Great Fireball Technique. Sarutobi Shinosuke spewed out a great fireball more than 5 meters in diameter, approaching Tatsuya. Fire-style techniques were one of Konoha's specialities, aside from the Uchiha clan. Why so serious? Did you hit a sore spot? Tatsuya didn't move or dodge, he simply smiled and asked. Suddenly, an afterimage flashed beside Tatsuya, accompanied by a flash of black light. The fireball burst instantly as if struck by a needle, disappearing without a trace. Everyone stared in amazement. Hatake Sukomo. Wow, that was amazing. What just happened? Obito exclaimed excitedly. I couldn't see it clearly, it was too fast. Kurenai's red eyes widened. This is the true strength of Uncle Sukomo. Hatake Sukomo, what do you mean? The captain of the Root Squad shouted. Don't harm my family. Hatake Sukomo responded without hesitation. Although he was a good-hearted man, his family was his bottom line. Moreover, the slap from Tatsuya made him realize a lot of things. He might not be a political genius, but he can still understand some things. After all, Shinosuke is the son of Hokage, so Hokage doesn't know what his son is doing behind his back. The Roots also showed up at the same time as Shinosuke. It means Shimura Danzo is also involved. Are you trying to resist arrest? Under Danzo's leadership, the Root members showed complete confidence. They seemed to have completely disregarded the strength difference between the two sides. Brother, what should I do? I don't want to go to jail. I'm so scared, Tatsuya said with an angry expression, pretending to be scared. Hatake Sukomo chuckled, shook his head, and then addressed the Root members seriously. My brother destroyed Hokage-sama's face from Hokage Rock. I will fully compensate for it. Can I explain this to Hokage-sama? Although the reconstruction of Hokage Rock would cost a huge sum of money, Hatake Sukomo's years of accumulation were still enough to cover the expenses. Then he's also a criminal. He must be sent to the torture and dentation department first. And Hatake Sukomo, don't forget, you are now under supervision. The Root members showed no respect for Konoha's White Fang at all. They waved their hands and ordered their men to move forward. This was the fate of those corrupted by power, but they forgot that strength is the basis for everything in this world. I've seen how easily power can corrupt people's hearts. But you are so weak yet have risen to this level, Tatsuya said with a silly expression, placing his hand on his katana while smiling. Brother, what should I do? I still don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail even for a minute, Tatsuya implored his big brother. Hatake Sukomo pretended to be hesitant, glancing at the Root ninjas in front of them. Finally, he sighed secretly and reached for the short blade behind him. Hatake Sukomo, you want to resist arrest too. At this moment, fear finally appeared in the eyes of the Root members. Tell that Onid Hawk that strength is the basis for everything, Tatsuya said, turning his eyes to Hatake Sukomo. Hatake could also guess what his brother meant, even though he can't disobey the Hokage, he was the former Anbu commander. Not just anybody can order him around, even if you are Hokage assistant you are not qualified. In the next instant, 2 white shadows disappeared at the same time, turning into afterglows that were imperceptible to the naked eye and vanished in a flash in front of the Root team. When everyone reacted, they saw the 2 brothers reappear on the left and right sides of the Root team. Slowly, they retracted their katanas into their scabbards. Tish bang. 2. When the 2 knives were fully retracted into their scabbards at the same time, a collision sound rang out. The masks of more than a dozen root players were neatly sliced in half, revealing their true faces and a straight scar from forehead to chin in the middle of their faces. They then rolled their eyes and collapsed, unconscious. Shizune wondered what just happened. Uchiha Obito was amazed, so cool. I couldn't see it, it was so fast. If only I could use Sharingan and copy them. I would cool like them. The harem. So many Anbu ninjas and all of them were defeated instantly. Asuma didn't say a word, he was already scared. Sarutobi Shinosuke shouted in horror. You guys actually killed. Don't worry, I used the back of the knife just now, they're not dead, Hatake Tatsuya responded. Oh? Brother, did you use the back of the knife? Why didn't I think of that? Tatsuya on the other side acted surprised, shaking the blood off his blade. 11 root members, 5 unconscious, and 6 incapacitated. The difference in the brothers' actions was vividly displayed. Tatsuya, you. Hatake frowned unconsciously as he looked at the 6 lifeless bodies. I'll pay more attention next time. After all, it's challenging to subdue opponents without causing fatal injuries, Tatsuya said with a mischievous smile. Obito and the others were wittied in awe. Now, what should we do with these confidants of Lord Hokage? Tatsuya asked humorously. These guys are truly like those noble idiots. In Tatsuya's view, with the Senju clan weakened after the Great War and no strong or genius Uchiha representing their family yet, the Sarutobi family had ascended to a higher position in Konoha, surpassing both the Senju and Uchiha clans. Therefore, he referred to them as the idiot nobles. Please stop. Sarutobi Shinosuke was frightened, bowing his head in submission to the 2 Kage-level masters who were closing in. Tatsuya paused and then smiled even more brightly at Hatake Tatsuya beside him. This is wonderful. He's still calling for us to stop. After all the trouble you have caused, you still want us to stop. Shinosuke, take me to see Master Hokage, Hatake Tatsuya sighed and said to the companion he saved by giving up the mission. No need, help me convey a message to your dad and he'll understand what I mean right away, Tatsuya stopped him in time. He had no desire to see Sarutobi Hiruzen's old wrinkled monkey face again, just like when he was 6 years old student who recently joined Ninja Academy. Hiruzen came to academy to tell children about the will of fire. Children might not understand what will of fire is but he can. Just look at it in canon. Shisui and Itachi trusted Sarutobi and followed his will of fire and sent all Uchihas to the pure world. Tatsuya bowed his waist and whispered something in Sarutobi Shinosuke's ear. Immediately afterwards, Sarutobi Shinosuke's expression changed suddenly. Don't worry about the compensation method, brother, I will handle it myself. Don't be foolish enough to think of suicide, Tatsuya gave his brother a contemptuous look. Hatake Tatsuya looked guilty. The thought of suicide was an impulse caused by his weak heart and the heat of the moment. He knew that if he calmed down, he wouldn't entertain such foolish thoughts again. The psychological pressure of society is a real thing. Just remember, all laws in countries all followed because we always think about what other people will say and what will be the consequences of breaking the law. What if we let our impulsive thoughts win? I'm going back, Tatsuya turned around, ready to return to his hut on the outskirts, where he had lived for 20 years. Wait, Tatsuya, it's rare for you to visit us. Let's have a meal together, Sukomo persuaded. Alright, there is something I want to tell you too, Tatsuya hesitated for a few seconds, nodded, and agreed. But come to my house to eat. Half an hour later, in the Hokage's office at the administration building. We do not have threatening thoughts towards you, but your friend might become an enemy for you without us, Sarutobi Shinosuke led the Sarutobi clansmen who had previously provoked Hatake Tatsuya. Their legs trembled and fear filled their eyes. Dad, no, Hokage-sama, Hatake Tatsuya just asked us to convey this sentence to you, he said, recalling how this level ninjutsu power knife nearly swept past their foreheads. The terrifying feeling was something many ninjas would unlikely experience in their lifetime. Your friend might become an enemy for you without us, Sarutobi Hiruzen repeated the second half of the sentence in a low voice, lowering the tobacco pipe from his mouth. Then, Sarutobi Hiruzen got up again and looked out of the window. Turned into powder by the sword energy slashed by that kid, and watched his own Hokage face on Hokage monument now in ruins, nothing more than charred rocks. Among the 7 Hokages in history as depicted in the original book, Sarutobi Hiruzen's strength could only barely compare with Kakashi. However, in terms of political maneuvering and playing with deception, he might even outshine his teacher, Senju Tobirama. Tatsuya had asked Sarutobi Shinosuke to convey to Sarutobi Hiruzen that there was only this simple sentence. But in that simplicity, there was a lot of meaning conveyed. Well, all of you can retreat, and Shinosuke, don't continue to do the things Danzo told you to do, Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed out. Sarutobi Shinosuke's eyebrow jumped, and after replying yes, he left the Hokage's office with his entourage. Tatsuya Saratobi Hiruzen continued looking at his missing face from the Hokage rock, his mind drifting back to the past. The entire Konoha shinobi circle regarded Tatsuya as an eternal genin of the same type as Might Dai. However, they forgot that Tatsuya, just like the legendary Sanin Tsunade, Orochimaru and Jiraiya graduated from the Ninja Academy just 1 year after enrolling. Only a few people, like Saratobi Hiruzen, still remembered this fact. At that time, Saratobi Hiruzen was newly appointed to Hokage's position, and his position was not secure. The major clans like the Senju and Uchiha were very dissatisfied with him taking over the position of third Hokage, and they kept a close eye on him. The Hatake family, though small, was unique at that time. It had produced two genius shinobi, Hatake Sukomo and Tatsuya. At just 11 years old, Hatake Sukomo was already very skilled and resembled another Uchiha Kagami. Tatsuya, on the other hand, showed a talent that faintly surpassed his brothers. The two brothers were known as the double blades of the Hatake family, drawing comparisons to the two Hokage brothers, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama. Konoha at that time speculated that the fourth Hokage might emerge from the two brothers. This made Saratobi Hiruzen very uneasy, as the Hatake family and the Saratobi family were in a hostile relationship. The patriarch of the Hatake family, the grandfather of Hatake Sukomo and Tatsuya, had been killed by Saratobi Hiruzen's father, Saratobi Sasuke, during the Sengoku era. These two brothers were the most troublesome individuals for Saratobi Hiruzen, second only to the Senju and Uchiha clans. At that time, Saratobi Hiruzen formed a team of early graduates, taking in Tsunade, Orochimaru and Jiraiya as his disciples. Back then he accepted Tsunade as his apprentice just to appease the Senju clan. If you are Hokage's student, the chances of becoming Hokage are very high. He himself was the biggest example. He studied ninjutsu under two previous Hokages. Orochimaru was selected for his true talent, and Jiraiya was included just to keep Tatsuya away. This was because Tatsuya and Tsunade were close during their time in the academy, which greatly disturbed Saratobi Hiruzen. Afterwards, Tatsuya repeatedly refused to take the Chunin exam and moved to the outskirts of Konoha, seemingly living a low-key life. But now, looking at the deep ravine cut out by Tatsuya's sword, Saratobi Hiruzen took another heavy puff of his cigarette. It seems that you haven't slacked off in your training in the past few years, Tatsuya. On the outskirts of Konoha, at Tatsuya's cabin. Inside the house, Kakashi had fallen asleep, while outside, a bonfire burned brightly beside the farmland. The brothers Hatake Sukomo and Tatsuya sat on opposite sides of the bonfire, using trunks as makeshift chairs. How many years has it been since you last went back to the village? I almost forgot. Sukumo's face was illuminated by the flickering firelight as he laughed in amazement. In Tatsuya's memory, it seemed like he had graduated early with the Sanin 20 years ago and obtained the title of Genin. At that time, Saratobi Hiruzen had just ascended to the title of the third Hokage and personally chose Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya as his disciples. This surprised Tatsuya, who was only 11 years old at the time but was already a genius in the village. According to their strength, one of Sanin should have been eliminated, and it should have been Jiraiya. Because of this, Tatsuya chose to move away from Konoha and repeatedly refused to take the Chunin exam. He barely took on missions, sustaining himself by growing vegetables and hunting. Even the right to reside on this piece of land was bought by Hatake Sukomo for him. Now because of this, the people of Konoha referred to Tatsuya as the Eternal Genin. Unlucky for me to be born in such an era, Tatsuya mumbled as he held a wooden stick with wild boar skewers. Taking a bite, Tatsuya continued grumbling, whether early or late, it doesn't matter. I just happened to pass through this time period. Born early. Hatake Sukomo blinked in confusion, used to his brother saying things he didn't understand. From childhood to adulthood, Hatake Sukomo had gotten used to his brother's peculiarities. However, in his previous life, Tatsuya's parents had passed away early and he was raised by their grandfather. But when he got older, their grandfather also died. Therefore, Tatsuya had no burden. But what bothered Hatake Tatsuya the most was that he had crossed over during Saratobi Hiruzen's reign, and it was during the early days of his rule. If only Tatsuya had crossed over to the time of Senju Hashirama or Senju Tobirama, or perhaps when the Konoha 12 was on the rise and the elders were about to die. During that time, the Konoha elders were composed of Saratobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, Udatain Kaharu, and Midokado Himura. It was undoubtedly the longest and most corrupt period in Konoha's history. Killing your geniuses and taking care of people who don't listen to you. Senju Hashirama's legacy was nearly obliterated in the time after the Ninetales attack. And today, if it weren't for Tatsuya's interference, Hatake Sukomo's Kage-level strength would probably have been gone in 2 days. Tatsuya, with a godlike perspective as a transmigrator, was left speechless. Damn Senju Tobirama, what kind of vision did he have when he chose his disciples? Although you are strong, your political wisdom is so stupid that I can hardly bear to look at it, Tatsuya contemptuously remarked. What do you mean? Hatake blinked dumbfounded. Do you really think those ninjas attacked you just because you failed to save Sarutobi Shinosuke on the mission? Isn't it? Hatake asked, puzzled. Tatsuya rolled his eyes, too lazy to continue arguing with his brother. In his view, it was because Hatake Sukomo was not from Sarutobi Hirazen's faction. Moreover, during the Sengoku period, the Hatake family and the Sarutobi family were enemies. The grandfather of Tatsuya and Hatake Sukomo, who was the patriarch of the Hatake family at that time, was killed by Sarutobi Hirazen's father, Sarutobi Sasuke. It was only natural for Sarutobi Hirazen to be wary of them. Furthermore, Sarutobi Hirazen's strength will inevitably decline due to age in the coming years. The time for considering a new Hokage candidate was approaching. Before Hatake Sukomo's incident, he had been the most likely candidate. Unlike Minato, be it Sukomo or Orochimaru, these people won't be easy to control after they became the Hokage. Sarutobi Hirazen doesn't need to do anything because there is someone else in the village who wants to become the Hokage. Will such a person let such a strong competitor as Sukomo arise? Behind the slander, there must be someone manipulating it. Tatsuya wasn't sure of Sarutobi Hirazen's role in it, but he was certain that the Elders' Council couldn't escape involvement. After all, if Hatake Sukomo indeed became the fourth Hokage, it wouldn't be advantageous for the Elder Group. There might even be retaliation from Hatake Sukomo. In the current situation, it would be best for them to have their relatives, children, or disciples take over the position of Hokage. However, considering the circumstances, the Hatake family no longer carried much significance to the current Konoha. But Sarutobi Hirazen still at his peak, Shimura Danzo's group maintaining their Kage level strength, and the Sanin gradually reaching Kage level, not to mention Namikaze Minato, who was already showing promise. Konoha was experiencing a peak period in its history second, only to the time when Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara joined forces. Tatsuya smirked, I'm not afraid of the waves. Konoha is still the well-deserved first village in the ninja world. It's just that during this time of the Konoha, these powerful individuals died one after another either by death, defection, or betrayal. As the plan for the Konoha crush was set in motion by Orochimaru, the once prominent first ninja village in the world had only Sarutobi Hirazen left with Kage level strength. The group of elders, who were once strong, were then useless. Danzo never came forward during the Pain Invasion or Orochimaru's Konoha collapse. After many years, Hatake Sukomo and Tatsuya finally had a long-lost conversation. Once again, Tatsuya warned Hatake to think before acting and to consider whether there might be unknown dangers lurking behind the orders of the Hokage and his advisors. Hatake Sukomo then revealed the specific details of his previously failed level mission: to assassinate the second Kazekage. The war between Konoha and the Sand Shinobi was coming to an end, and during this time, Hatake Sukomo was on the front lines, where he managed to kill 2 elite jonin from the Sand Shinobi's puppet team, who happened to be Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law. This inflicted severe damage on the Sand Shinobi's vitality. Initially, the war had reached a point where the Sand Shinobi should have withdrawn their troops. However, the death of Chiyo's child and her daughter-in-law drove her to madness, leading her to continue the war and develop new poisons to counter Konoha's forces. In an effort to prevent the situation from worsening, Sarutobi Hirazen issued an order. Hatake Sukomo and Sarutobi Shinosuke were appointed to form an elite team with the mission of taking a detour out of the country of rain and entering the country of wind to assassinate the second Kazekage. As for what followed, Sarutobi Shinosuke was weak and suffered a serious injury during the mission. As a result, Hatake Sukomo had to abandon the mission to save him. Unfortunately, this failure resulted in the war with the Sand Shinobi remaining unresolved, and Hatake bore some responsibility for it. Tatsuya, however, argued that even if Sukomo was responsible, Sarutobi Shinosuke should shoulder some responsibility. It is good to have strong enemies, but having weak friends is idiotic. In the early morning of the second day, with the sun just rising above the horizon, some Anbu appeared near Tatsuya's cabin and looked toward the Hatake brothers. Master Hokage summoned Hatake Tatsuya and Hatake Sukomo to his office, the Anbu leader said in a cold and commanding tone. Hatake Sukomo paused, immediately ceasing his activities on the field. He noticed a subtle surprise in the person who came, recalling the emotionless masked individuals from yesterday, and inwardly recognized him as an Anbu member. Did Master Hokage call us himself? Hatake Sukomo wondered. Meanwhile, Tatsuya seemed oblivious to the Anbu's presence and continued pulling out radishes from the field. He then tossed them to Kakashi, who stood nearby, instructing him to wash and slice them for marinating into kimchi. Uncle, that Kakashi hesitated, trying to signal to Tatsuya with worried eyes. Hatake Tatsuya. Didn't you hear?" The Anbu captain raised his voice in frustration, realizing that Tatsuya wasn't paying any attention. Despite the Anbu captain's irritation, Tatsuya remained unfazed, and a powerful aura seemed to emanate from him, making the Anbu team uncomfortable. The shouting Captain Anbu felt a sense of dullness on his face, so he raised his volume and angrily exclaimed, "Speaking to someone who is stronger than yourself, remember not to forget the gap between the two sides." Tatsuya turned his head leisurely, and as his gaze fell upon the team of Anbu ninjas, it seemed as if an invisible beast, like a looming mountain, stared at them with hideous faces. In an instant, the faces behind the masks of the Anbu team were covered in cold sweat. "Tatsuya, don't spread your killing intent at will," Hatake Tatsuya reminded him. "I'm used to it, but I can't change it for a while." Tatsuya chuckled and then walked back to his room to retrieve two knives. He threw the short blade named White Fang to Hatake Tatsuya and said, "Let's go. Today, I have to see the monkey face of Sarutobi Hiruzen." Hatake Tatsuya didn't take his katana to Hokage's office, but Tatsuya warned him, "Your innocence will kill you." He alluded to the uncertainty of Uchiha Shisui's future, hinting that innocence and naivety could lead to dangerous consequences. The man with the most dangerous Mangekyou Sharingan and who could use Susanoo with one Mangekyou Sharingan died because he trusted the wrong person. As they stepped into the main gate of Konoha village, the Anbu squad, responsible for guarding and supervising, disappeared instantly. Anbu cannot appear in the eyes of the public, making it clear that they work in the shadows. Kakashi, still a student, announced his plan to go to school to his father and uncle. However, due to Hatake Tatsuya's survival, Kakashi's record of the fastest graduation from the academy of the same year for enrollment and graduation may no longer hold. As Kakashi turned around and prepared to rush to the ninja school, he suddenly ran into a familiar figure and subconsciously shouted, "Nawaki-sensei." In response to Kakashi's call, the young man, about 18 years old, turned his head and smiled, "Haha, it's Kakashi. Good morning." In the next moment, the young man spotted Tatsuya behind Kakashi and his face lit up with joy. He beckoned and shouted, "Oh. Aniki. You actually came to the village. Is this the first time since my sister left the village?" Nawaki, a Konoha chunin at the age of 18, served as a teacher at Konoha Shinobi School. He was one of the few people who knew the true strength of Tatsuya. Aniki Kakashi was dumbfounded. Nawaki-sensei is calling his uncle big brother. Kakashi remembered that Nawaki's sister was known as Konoha's strongest female ninja. Thinking of this, Kakashi shivered secretly. "Uncle, do you know Tsunade-sama?" "Don't call me that. Even an idiot like you bothers me. I don't have that kind of relationship with your old sister," Tatsuya said with a look of disgust. In the original book, Nawaki was supposed to have been killed during the early days of the Second Ninja War a few years ago. However, Tatsuya's heart-wrenching sentence, "You don't have the talent of a ninja," made Nawaki decide not to go to the battlefield. Instead, Tatsuya saved his life and Nawaki later became a teacher at the ninja school. Due to this incident, Tsunade, Nawaki's sister and somewhat of a broke up with Tatsuya. Nawaki chuckled strangely, suddenly remembering something. He leaned against Tatsuya, covering his eyes with one hand, and whispered, "Aniki, I heard that there is a situation related to my sister on the front lines of San Shinobi. There's a guy from the Kato family who always tries to get close to my sister. What do you think? What's your take on it?" Tatsuya laughed in response, walking disdainfully towards the distant administrative building. Nawaki remained silent and Tatsuya continued tauntingly, "At a glance, it's obvious you haven't experienced love." Nawaki's round face flushed suddenly and he impulsively shouted, "How do you know? Is Kato-dan better than me? Taller? More handsome? Or stronger than me?" Tatsuya laughed and asked. Men will never look for women who are worse than their actual friends because they unconsciously compare new women with their ex. If they are worse than their ex, they won't bother to chase them unless they're being chased themselves, Tatsuya explained. Women take this matter more seriously, they don't even want to communicate too much with someone of the opposite sex who is worse than their previous partner, he continued, smiling mischievously. Not to mention your sister, the Senju princess who grew up being spoiled by the first and second Hokage. Can you bet that during the past few years when I broke up with her, she didn't take the initiative to say a word to that Kato-dan? Hatake Tatsuya, Kakashi, and Nawaki were left completely dumbfounded. Nawaki, in particular, was in awe, with eyes shining with admiration. "That's awesome." Impatiently, Nawaki shouted, "Then, Aniki, are there other skills for chasing girls?" He seemed ready to learn everything he could. Tatsuya smirked, realizing that Nawaki was eager to know, even to the point that "I want to get laid quickly" was written on his face. If she hasn't experienced much of the world, show her the beautiful world. If her heart has known ups and downs, take her to a peaceful place and enjoy tasty food. If she's experiencing her first love, be gentle and patient. And if she has met countless people, be sincere and straightforward, Tatsuya calmly advised. Just like your sister, she belongs to Tatsuya was about to say more, but Hatake Sukomo coughed heavily, his eyes shifting away from his son. He signaled to Tatsuya to be mindful of his words when a child is present. Tatsuya glanced at Nawaki, who seemed eager to hear more and couldn't help but think that this kid was quite a pervert, just like many others in this world. Is this effective chakra because Kaguya is weak to harem no jutsu? Or is it because of Jiraiya's books in the future, there will be an increase in the number of perverts? Is it because of Kishimoto? As they continued to chat, the ringing bell from the ninja school suddenly broke the conversation. Kakashi alerted Nawaki that it was time for class, and they hurriedly made their way to school. Before leaving, Nawaki assured Tatsuya and Nikki, "I'll ask you again after school." As they watched the two boys go further away, Hatake Sukomo walked side by side with his brother, shaking his head with a wry smile. He jokingly asked, "How many romantic entanglements have you gotten yourself into, kid? Don't get me wrong, okay? I've learned a lot from observing others, but I haven't had much practical experience." Tatsuya added to himself. At least not in this life. It was true, more so in his previous life. But in this life, with the awakening system and the political challenges in Konoha, Tatsuya focused almost all his energy on kendo. The only woman who had managed to make him take an interest was Tsunade. After all, she is the legendary 106. There are many who surpassed her, but she is the perfect one. Neither too gigantic or neither too mid. Practical experience. When Sukomo heard this word, his face was full of bewilderment. Practical experience or practical operation? But, upon reflection, it does seem that way. My younger brother has lived in the suburbs for 20 years. Apart from him and Kakashi, Tsunade and her brother, and a handful of other people, he doesn't come into contact with anyone else, and among them, Hatake Sukomo only knows Tsunade is the only friend of his brother from the opposite sex. It really shouldn't lead to any romantic involvements. They stepped into the administrative building and made their way to the Hokage's office. "Hokage-sama," Hatake Sukomo greeted, standing upright as he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting behind his desk, smoking a pipe in one hand and holding a document in the other. "Ah, Hokage-sama," Tatsuya added an honorific title, though his tone lacked the taste of respect. "It's been a long time, Sukomo, Tatsuya," Sarutobi Hiruzen said cheerfully as he set aside the file. There was no hint of anger about the destruction of his face on the Hokage mountain. If others were present, they would surely be amazed. Hokage-sama is truly benevolent. His demeanor could be compared to that of the neighborhood kind old man and can be said to be Sarutobi Hiruzen's greatest asset. Although Senju Tobirama was also a shrewd politician, he always was a serious person who was raised in the Sengoku era. Always vigilant, there is no need to show kindness or a simple smile to those who were weaker than him. As a Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen only showed kindness because the shinobi no Yami behind him could completely support him. All sorts of shady things were done by this guy. And if someday the secret is out, all can be blamed on Danzo. Being a traverser, Tatsuya couldn't help but feel that the combination of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo was a brilliant strategy. One inspired others to sacrifice themselves for Konoha, and the other one kidnapped or snatched people to protect Konoha. With one responsible in the light and the other in the dark, an excellent combo. This made Sarutobi Hiruzen one of the most outstanding Hokage in history and deserved the title of the strongest Hokage. "Hokage-sama, my brother destroyed Hokage Rock on an impulse, so I will compensate for it." The first sentence from Hatake Sukomo was about the compensation for the damage to Hokage Rock. He wanted to prevent further trouble and also hoped to save his brother from going to prison. Destroy Hokage Rock. The monument depicts the face of the previous Hokage and the current one. And you specifically destroyed the face of the current Hokage. That's enough to get you 10 or 8 years in prison. Don't worry, Sukomo, I have already announced to the people that Hokage Rock was destroyed because of spies from the Sand Shinobi village who sneaked into Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his hand to signal Hatake Sukomo not to worry and then added with a little apologetic expression, "I'm sorry for what Shinosuke said to you. That kid was a little impulsive." Kid? Can a 20-year-old be called a kid? Don't they know that children in this world have been hardened by life at the age of 6 and 8-year-olds are sent to the battlefield to kill? 14-year-old Obito came to Konoha and almost destroyed it because the 4th Hokage was late to save Rin. Tatsuya looked at Sarutobi and felt exhausted. However, there was no mastermind behind this incident. Tatsuya didn't believe it for a moment. At this time, Tatsuya activated his perception. With his keen sense of sight and energy detection, he could capture the hidden breath on the eaves of the windowsill behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. The technique Shunpo is a high-speed movement technique used by Shinigami to quickly traverse distances. You can't even walk properly without your eyes. Do you think Shunpo, also known as flash steps, can be used without a strong perception ability? Saratobi Hiruzen continued, however, although I claim that this matter was done by a spy sent by Sand Village to Konoha, if the war with Sand Shinobi cannot be ended as soon as possible, it will not be easy to deal with in the future. Okay, here comes the point. Even someone like Hatake Sukomo, who wasn't well versed in politics, could understand it. Not to mention Tatsuya. Saratobi Hiruzen meant that Tatsuya will be responsible for resolving the Sand Shinobi situation on the front lines. It's really not a loss at all. Tatsuya chuckled inwardly. He knew that Saratobi Hiruzen had to cover up the failure of his son's previous mission to assassinate the second Kazekage. Hatake, who had grasped Saratobi Hiruzen's meaning, offered his request, Hokage-sama, please allow me and my brother to go to the front line of the Kingdom of Wind to support Tsunade and the others. The smile on Saratobi Hiruzen's slightly wrinkled face brightened even more. He stroked the beard on his chin and replied, very well, very well. Brother, let me go, you're too fragile, I'm afraid that if you fail again this time, you'll want to commit suicide again. You should rest at home. Spend some time home with Kakashi. Tatsuya turned his eyes and glanced at Hatake Sukomo, who was beside him, with a hint of contempt in the corner of his eye. No, it was me, I acted on impulse before. Hatake said with embarrassment. Suicide Sukomo, what's going on? Saratobi Hiruzen abruptly stood up from the chair with a look of astonishment. Acting is a very important skill for a politician or leader. If I didn't know you well I might have believed you. Thank you, Hokage-sama, for your concern, I'm fine, Hatake Sukomo replied, bowing his head and saluting. He conveyed that he did not wish to discuss the matter any further. Then he continued, for this mission, let Tatsuya and me go together. As long as we can end the war with Sand Shinobi, we can basically declare the end of the Second Ninja World War. Saratobi Hiruzen sat back down and said with satisfaction, you are the pillar of our Konoha, you can't be so impulsive. Yeah, brother, in the future, you might become the fourth Hokage. Then I can borrow the name and prestige of the Hokage, right? Suicide would be a shame, Tatsuya teased, patting Hatake on the shoulder. At the desk, Saratobi Hiruzen had a troubled expression. I am still very much alive. Just talking about the fourth Hokage in front of me, is it appropriate? But fortunately, his strength is still at its peak, so there should be no need to worry for a short time. Moreover, the failure of the previous mission to assassinate the second Kazekage caused a lot of uproar and tarnished the shining image of Konoha's White Fang. Being the fourth Hokage in the future would not be an easy task. Oh, yes, Hokage-sama, for this mission, the team should be led by Shinosuke and should accompany us to the front lines, Tatsuya suddenly turned his head and suggested with a smile. Saratobi Hiruzen looked at him for a moment and even Hatake Sukomo had a similar contemplative expression in his eyes. Tatsuya spread out his hands and said in a natural tone, that's only fair. Last time, my brother and the Shinosuke's team failed to perform the mission together. This time, we need to redeem ourselves and not have them sit back and reap the rewards, right? His words cut like a sharp knife. Saratobi Hiruzen's decision was undeniable. After half a minute of silence, Saratobi Hiruzen smiled again and nodded. Of course, I originally intended to have Shinosuke and his team accompany you, but I didn't expect you to propose it first. Tatsuya chuckled inwardly. You see, during the Second Ninja War, Saratobi Hiruzen, despite being the Hokage, did not go to the front at all. Not just him, but even the three elders were all sitting comfortably behind him, enjoying the success without getting their hands dirty. But it's understandable. After all, Konoha's genius during this period is abundant and many powerful individuals emerged. How can you expect them to be obediently commanded into battle? They fight for their lives on the front line. Oh, yes, Hokage-sama, it seems there's a mouse in your office, Tatsuya suddenly said before leaving. Saratobi Hiruzen and Hatake Sukomo looked startled at the same time. Tatsuya continued jokingly, but don't worry too much, mice can't adapt to the light, they can only stay in the darkness underground for the rest of their lives. Bang. As the door closed, the huge office was left with only Saratobi Hiruzen. After about half a minute, Saratobi Hiruzen spoke softly, it seems Tatsuya's perception ability is top-notch, not just his sword skills. While mentioning this, Saratobi Hiruzen's gaze subtly shifted to the eaves of the nearby window, and he spoke with a deep voice, he can sense you, Danzo. The dark shadow leapt in from the window, revealing Danzo, the head of the root organization. However, in Tatsuya's memory, Danzo, who used to be wrapped in bandages and relied on crutches, looked nothing like the current Danzo, who wore a gray vest uniform with a shinobi sword strapped to his back, the standard Anbu attire. At the moment, he hadn't yet transplanted Hashirama cells or acquired an arm full of Sharingan, making him somewhat more human-like, rather than the enigmatic figure he would later become. Still, Shimura Danzo, the same age as Saratobi Hiruzen, managed to maintain his Kage level strength, which was crucial. Though this state might not be sustainable for another 2 years, he wasn't at a point where he resembled either a person or a disfigured monster. It was one of the reasons why he was eager to transform himself into a later form. That kid has a sharp tongue. Danzo's outward composure concealed his anger, but his tightly clenched fists and the pulsing blue veins on his forehead hinted at his rising frustration. To be referred to as a mouse, that damn brat. Calm down, Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen, understanding his friend's emotions, spoke calmly. They had known each other almost from the time they started speaking. Where there is light, there must be darkness. For Konoha, you actively chose to remain in the shadows, silently protecting the village, which makes you a well-deserved hero. Sarutobi Hiruzen offered words of praise, causing Danzo's anger to subside. Danzo then shifted to another topic, and a sly smile appeared on his wrinkled face, similar to Sarutobi Hiruzen's earlier smile. But don't worry, even though Hatake Sukomo isn't dead, he won't dare to think about becoming Hokage, Danzo said, spreading his hands as if revealing a successful conspiracy. His actions and the reasons behind the defeat in the war with Sand Shinobi have become well known throughout the ninja community, and he has lost the support of the people. Indeed, you played a significant role behind Shinosuke's actions, didn't you? Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, relighting his extinguished pipe. And isn't that exactly what you wanted? Hiruzen, are you implying that you'd rather let Hatake take your place instead of grooming your sons or disciples? Danzo asked rhetorically. Yes, it was Danzo who spread the rumors, including instigating Sarutobi Shinosuke to use hurtful words against Hatake Sukomo. Sukomo almost committed suicide, Sarutobi Hiruzen added in a grave tone. Danzo almost burst into laughter. What did Hiruzen expect? If he hadn't agreed, would those rumors have come to be? Sarutobi Shinosuke, who was dragging his feet, also bore some responsibility for the situation. He was Hiruzen's son, they live in the same house. Does he not know what kind of person his son is? It doesn't matter even without the White Fang. The victory of Konoha in this war is inevitable, Danzo said with a light smile. After all, during this period, Konoha had many geniuses, and losing a few here and there was acceptable. Sarutobi Hiruzen remained silent. He didn't intend to have the White Fang killed, but he did want to tarnish his reputation to prevent him from being promoted to the position of Hokage. In Hiruzen's heart, his son Shinosuke or Asuma were the candidates to take over. After them, Orochimaru and Jiraiya were potential successors. Tsunade was also a candidate until last year when the Senju clan suffered due to Konoha's intelligence mistakes, almost decimating the clan. This incident caused a rift between Tsunade and Sarutobi Hiruzen, removing her from the list of candidates. In any case, I can handle the position for a few more years. Tell your people to stop spreading those rumors, Sarutobi Hiruzen said as he took a pipe and exhaled a sip of smoke slowly. Danzo used a body flicker technique and disappeared from the office. However, he kept Hatake Tatsuya's words in mind. This kid had dared to provoke him directly. As Tatsuya and Hatake Sukomo walked from the administrative building to the village entrance, they heard whispers from Konoha shinobi wearing vests. People were discussing the person known as the White Fang and his failed mission that led to the war with Sand Shinobi. He's Konoha's sinner. Yes, why didn't Hokage-sama arrest him? Tatsuya led Hatake Sukomo into a meatball shop and sat down, wearing a smile on his face. It's true, brother. You've accomplished countless things for Konoha, but because of one failure, you're labeled a sinner for all time, hahaha. Your past achievements seem to have vanished. He couldn't help but think about Orochimaru's actions in the original work, wondering if Orochimaru foresaw Konoha's eventual downfall under the leadership of the elders and launched the Konoha collapse plan and killed Sarutobi to weaken the village before taking control. Oh, Orochimaru sure is working hard for Konoha. Tatsuya remarked jokingly. Hatake Sukomo smiled bitterly, but then his expression turned serious. He asked, Tatsuya, when you were in Hokage-sama's office just now and asked Shinosuke to join us, what was your intention? Just getting more helpers, that's all, Tatsuya replied casually, picking up a bunch of meatballs and slicing them. Hatake wasn't entirely convinced. He thought to himself, even idiots might not believe you. The prime residential area of Konoha village, the land of the Senju clan, boasts the emblem of the Senju clan printed on both sides of its walls. However, now it appears vast and empty. Last year, the Konoha Intelligence Department's mistakes led to the near annihilation of the Senju family's ninjas. As a result, many houses now lie vacant. I believe it won't be long before the Konoha management approaches the Senju clan to cede their land and seize it, relocating the remaining Senju members to different areas of the village and cutting off their contact. This would effectively reduce the Senju clan to a mere name. Nevertheless, for the time being, Tsunade, the Kage-level ninja, remains in Konoha, and Senju Nawaki, the grandson of Senju Hashirama, is still alive. Despite the rumors circulating under the Sarutobi Hiruzen's council, they dare not publicly criticize the Senju clan to maintain some level of dignity. "Aniki, I heard some troubling rumors at school today," said Nawaki, filling Tatsuya's glass with sake in the Senju patriarch's residence. At the moment, he wasn't in the mood to banter with Tatsuya. He proceeded to share the rumors he had heard from the teachers at school, which were closely related to what Tatsuya and Hatake Sukomo had overheard on the street earlier in the day. These rumors revolved around the failure of the White Fang mission, blaming him for prolonging the war and deeming him a sinner of Konoha. Furthermore, it criticized him as a ninja who couldn't complete their missions as mere waste. "It's outrageous. Don't they realize how much Master Sukomo has done for the village? Criticizing him just because of a failed mission is beyond unfair," Nawaki exclaimed indignantly. "Ah," Tatsuya responded, not hurrying to eat his food. After taking a sip of his drink, he smiled lightly and said, "Such is reality. People can shamelessness criticize others without taking any of the responsibilities, especially when a group of people colludes and make such statements, but the law doesn't hold them responsible. My sister used to tell me about the greatness of Grandpa Hashirama and Grandpa Tobirama when they were Hokage, but now I can't feel it at all," Nawaki said, pursing her dry lips and downing the liquor in her glass with a bitter smile. "To be honest, I'm tempted to defect," he added. "Defect?" Tatsuya reacted suddenly and smiled. "You would be the most idiot person to defect. If people knew you are the grandson of Hashirama, capturing you alive might become the biggest treat for bounty hunters. Plus using you they can lure in Tsunade." "What?" Nawaki was taken aback. "So forget about leaving the village, you don't have enough strength anyway." Tatsuya explained, "During the last two ninja wars, have you ever wondered why other countries always initiated attacks on the country of fire, but the country of fire itself never started a war?" Nawaki scratched his head and pondered for a while before finally uttering, "Because our Hokage advocates peace." Tatsuya tapped his chopsticks on Nawaki's head and replied with a stern expression, "Nonsense. The fire country already possesses the most fertile land in the world and there's no need to invade other countries. The territories of the five major powers are as follows. The water country is an island nation facing the ninja continent across the sea, known for its unchanging trade patterns. The altitude of Thunder Country is too high, making people with weaker physique susceptible to diseases. While the Earth Country is rich in minerals, its mountainous terrain makes it difficult to develop farming. As for the Wind Country, it hasn't been actively attacked in any of the three ninja battles, except for a few oases and gold mines. It's uninhabitable. In contrast, the Fire Country is like a perennial spring, abundant in resources and fertile for miles. Therefore, during each ninja world war, it becomes the target of other countries. There's no other place in the ninja world as prosperous as Konoha, and while others strive to infiltrate it, you still wish to defect. Are you out of your mind?" Tatsuya remarked with a smile. Nawaki, holding the spot where he was hit, replied, "I understand it now, Aniki. But even so," he continued, "the ruler's vision is too low. No matter how strong Konoha's foundation is, it's not enough for them. Senju has already become the first victim. Who's next? You wait and see. I'll bring you good news soon," Tatsuya reassured Nawaki as they raised their glasses and toasted each other. Early the next morning, in front of the main gate of Konoha village, Tatsuya, who had spent the night at Nawaki's house, arrived to find a small team led by his brother and Sarutobi Shinosuke already assembled. To his surprise, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Sarutobi Bawako were there to see them off. Even Sarutobi Asuma, the second son, was present, though barely recognizable without his beard. Kakashi, who is usually a silent child, came to bid farewell to his father and uncle as well. The teachers of the future Konoha 12 were also present. "Welcome Tatsuya. I'm glad you joined this mission," Sarutobi Hiruzen greeted Tatsuya warmly, earning him the goodwill of Nahara-rin and Kurenai, the young ninja in training. "I won't let you down, Hokage-sama. I, Hatake Tatsuya, will never repeat the mistakes of my elder brother. I'll prioritize completing the mission, even if it means not being able to save my companions and witnessing their deaths," Tatsuya declared with determination, pledging his loyalty to Konoha. "Hokage-sama, don't worry, I, Hatake Tatsuya, will never make the same mistakes as my elder brother. Even if I have to watch my companions perish during a mission, I will always prioritize completing the mission." Upon hearing Tatsuya's statement, everyone present was left dumbfounded. After a few seconds, they slowly regained their composure one by one. Obito, in canon this guy started the Bloody Mist because Mist Shinobi was the reason Rin died. How could he tolerate Tatsuya's words? "Uncle. You're going too far. Companions are the most important thing. How can you abandon them just to complete a task?" With a mischievous smile, Tatsuya playfully teased Obito, resembling a younger version of the future world-changing figure Naruto, "Run to, you're too naive. As ninjas, we must prioritize our missions, even if it means sacrificing our companions, right Shinosuke-kun, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi Shinosuke and Sarutobi Hiruzen, father and son, looked embarrassed as they were questioned by Tatsuya. How could they respond? If they disagreed with Tatsuya's perspective, they would feel like hypocrites, given how others had criticized Hatake Sukomo for abandoning his comrades during his final mission. On the other hand, if they agreed with Tatsuya's view, they might be seen as cold-blooded individuals in the future. Caught in this dilemma, Sarutobi Shinosuke eventually mustered the courage to speak up. No, you're right. A ninja should focus on the mission, even if it means sacrificing companions to accomplish it. Impressed, Tatsuya patted Sarutobi Shinosuke's shoulder with a relieved expression, finding a like-minded ally. The other Sarutobi ninjas behind him were left in disbelief. They couldn't believe that Tatsuya had suddenly become so friendly with them, especially considering his previous cold attitude just 2 days ago. Sukomo and Kakashi exchanged nervous glances, well aware of Tatsuya's unpredictable nature. They knew that whenever Tatsuya showed such an expression, someone was about to face trouble. Master Hokage, do you agree with my perspective? Tatsuya turned to Sarutobi Hiruzen with a smile. Hiruzen, secretly scolding Tatsuya for putting him in a difficult position, gave an ambiguous response. This must be judged based on the specific circumstances. However, as long as it is for the good of the village, it is the right decision. Runtu continued to voice his disagreement, insisting, regardless, abandoning your companions for the mission is wrong. Tatsuya, noticing Rin standing behind Obito, playfully teased her, "Huh? Girl, do you have a crush on this kid from my house?" The Harem was caught off guard by Tatsuya's sudden question and responded with surprise. Furthermore, they were discussing such a sensitive topic, causing her face to suddenly turn red. Before Rin could reply, Obito jumped up and shouted, "What nonsense. Rin doesn't like this annoying brat. I suggest you don't like this kid, lass. Maybe girls your age are easily drawn to such a mysterious guy, but in reality, these types of men are the most unreliable." Tatsuya, who loved to tease kids by comparing them to certain characters from the future, smirked and said, "Looks aren't everything. This kid is nowhere near as handsome as me when he takes off his mask." Little did anyone know that Rin Nahara's appearance wasn't breathtaking, she could only be described as cute, and her ninja talent could be considered that of a good, ordinary girl next door. However, in the future, she would become a butterfly whose wings would bring such a tornado into the shinobi world that would become the reason for the Fourth Shinobi World War. Tatsuya's remark was meant as a subtle reminder, recognizing her future potential. After all, she seemed somewhat pitiable. Obito, on the other hand, did not receive any of Tatsuya's sympathy. "You are really more handsome than Kakashi," exclaimed the little girl, Kurenai, standing beside Nahara-rin. She gazed at Tatsuya's sharp eyebrows and white hair that resembled Hatake Sukomo and Kakashi's spiky hair. Her ruby-like eyes sparkled as she admired his features, falling for his elegant and pure appearance. She had found her type. The future wind user Asuma became wary and shot Tatsuya a hostile look. Tatsuya was left speechless, seeing some of the girls, like Kurenai, acting like nymphomaniacs or fangirls. Ahem, Tatsuya, Sukomo, it's time to set off. The Konoha comrades on the front line are waiting for your reinforcements, Sarutobi Hiruzen reminded them with a dry cough, sensing that Tatsuya's antics might lead to unforeseen consequences. It was best to dismiss this disaster-prone star quickly. Looking at the back of the Sarutobi team, led by the two white-haired brothers, Sarutobi Lakebiwa frowned. She turned her head and whispered to her husband, Hiruzen, I have a bad premonition." "Are you talking about Tatsuya? It's true that he is very different from that of Sukomo, but you don't need to worry too much." In Sarutobi Hiruzen's view, his wife was being a bit unreasonable. Today, the Hatake clan is in a state of existence in name only, much like the Senju clan. Originally, the Hatake family was a small clan in the Sengoku era. After experiencing the first ninja war in previous years and the second ninja war, the only notable figures are Hatake Tatsuya, Hatake Sukomo, and Hatake Kakashi, even though two of them are Kage-level powerhouses. But with Konoha's population booming, Sarutobi Hiruzen is confident that he can still maintain control. "Obito, have you seen Kakashi under the mask?" Tatsuya had just mentioned Kakashi's true face, piquing Rin Nahara's curiosity. When Kakashi wasn't paying attention, she asked Obito in a low voice. "I don't know, but why cover your face if you look good? It must be ugly." Obito didn't miss the opportunity to slander his rival in front of his sweetheart and immediately insulted Kakashi. "You're the ugly runt here, Runtu," Kakashi responded sharply. "Who's Runtu? Bastard." Obito froze for a moment and then he and Kakashi engaged in an instant fight. "But, Tatsuya-san is really handsome," Kurenai remarked thoughtlessly, thinking of the other party's angular face. Kurene, that's a very dangerous guy. Don't forget that he ruined Hokage Rock, and he is also someone who advocates giving up his companions for the mission. Like Obito, Asuma also did his best to discredit the rival in love. Doesn't your elder brother also advocate that? Yugao expressed extreme disdain for Asuma's double-standard behavior. Her father, Yugao Maki, and Hatake Tsukumo were good friends, and she knew a lot about Hatake Tsukumo. Co-authoring the same behavior. Your brother is right and Tatsuya is wrong. And this is because you are the Hokage's son. So you can say anything, people just don't curse you in your face. Asuma felt as uncomfortable as eating shit and couldn't refute it. Everyone, it's almost time for the school bell and go to school. At this moment, a call came from behind. All kids turned their heads to look at Nawaki and said, "Hi, Mr. Nawaki." Sarutobi Hiruzen, lighting another pipe, smiled when he saw the person coming. Training the next generation for Konoha, thank you for your hard work, Nawaki. Nawaki, who is obviously the grandson of the god of ninjas but did not inherit the wood style, Hiruzen didn't take it to heart. Not to mention that his ninja talent is far inferior to that of his sister, Tsunade. Hokage-sama, thank you. After all, Konoha is the shinobi village founded by my grandfather. I should do my best. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that Nawaki always emphasized the word shinobi village, founded by my grandfather. The Sarutobi couple observed Nawaki leading a group of 6-year-old kids away, and Lake Biwa spoke first. Sure enough, he is holding grudges. The accident happened to the Senju clan a year ago. The front line of the battlefield a year ago suffered due to the mistakes of the intelligence department. The Senju family's army fell into a trap set by the enemy village and lost 50% of the Jinin. Tsunade and Nawaki's parents also died in this battle. Tatsuya, who was still farming in the suburbs, believed that the intelligence department's mistake seemed intentional, especially considering that the main personnel of the intelligence department were from the Shimura clan. It's okay anyway, it's impossible for Senju, Sarutobi Hiruzen said, feeling a bit guilty but needing to speak quickly. He wanted Senju Nawaki to remain in the post of teacher at Shinobi Academy. As long as the real power remained on their side. But their backs turned to the Hokage couple, Nawaki returned to the ninja school with a group of brats. When no one was paying attention, his face suddenly became as cold as Sasuke's in the future, and he whispered to himself. Is this what you are going to do, Aniki? Combining Tatsuya's earlier remarks with what he had heard last night, Nawaki had a vague idea of what Tatsuya wanted to do. He couldn't help but smile ecstatically. It's great, Hokage-sama, now you can also taste the loss of a loved one. Although it is a war between the land of fire and the land of wind, the battlefield is located on the boundary between the land of rivers and the land of wind. The land of rivers is a small country responsible for commerce and trade between the land of fire and the land of wind, without a shinobi village, and it is also a neighboring country of the land of fire. Being caught in the middle, the land of rivers is affected the most by the war between Konoha and Sand Shinobi. Will any businessmen dare to do business in a country where two great shinobi villages are fighting? As Pain said in the original manga, the peace of a big country is built on the sacrifice of a small country. At present, the war between Konoha and the Sand Shinobi has entered the second stage. The leader of the puppet army, the old woman Chiyo, constantly develops new poisons, and Tsunade, the strongest medical ninja in the world, continues to detoxify. The two sides play back and forth like a turn-based game. After 3 days and 2 nights, the Hatake duo and the Sarutobi team successfully arrived at the front line. Reinforcement. In front of Konoha's camp, there is a Hyuga who is in charge of the guard, verifying the identities of everyone. When he saw Hatake Tsukumo, a bit of complaint flashed in his eyes. After all, if the previous assassination mission had been successful, the war would have ended long ago. However, the Hyuga ninja did not verbally attack Hatake Tsukumo like the leaks in the village. As expected of a big clan, he has more brains than civilians, Tatsuya said as he entered the camp, patting the other person on the shoulder with a look on his face. The two Hyuga ninjas guarding the gate were a little dazed. Hey, that guy looks a bit like White Fang, who is he? White Fang's younger brother, it is said that he moved out of the village when he was 7 years old. The rumored eternal genin. Why did Master Hokage send him to support on the front lines? So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.